Okay, so today we're going like way back in time, back when people used to like write things down.
Oh, yeah.
Remember pen and paper, we're talking paper planners and like in this world of, apps and notifications and digital calendars, like why are these like old school notebooks still around?
Right, like they're everywhere still. It's kind of surprising.
Yeah, it really is. So we found this really interesting article. It's from wi.txt.
Oh, yeah.
And the title is Why Paper Planner Still Matters in This Digital Age. And it goes into like all the pluses of using paper, not just for to-do lists, but for like sparking ideas, being more creative, even for your mental health.
Yeah, like they talk to all sorts of people, like busy professionals, students, artists.
Yeah, so what we're going to do today is really like dig deep
Yeah.
and figure out, why, with all this amazing tech we have, why are paper planners not just like, gathering dust in a museum somewhere?
Exactly.
So let's start with like the obvious thing, right? We've got all these like super efficient digital tools for like organizing our lives, calendars, to-do lists, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's all right there on our phones.
Right. So why are we even talking about paper planners? Like what's the deal?
Well, it is kind of a contradiction, right? Because digital tools, they're so convenient. I mean, instant access syncing across all your devices, reminders popping up,
You can't beat that.
Right. But paper planners are still here, and that means they must be doing something that digital just can't quite replicate.
Yeah, like what is it about that like physical planner that keeps people going back?
Exactly.
So the article starts off talking about like the tangible like feel of a paper planner, the whole pen and paper thing.
Right. Like, it just feels different.
It does, and they talk about the positive effects of handwriting, and it's not just about, liking how your handwriting looks. It's like there's a real connection between your hand and your brain.
Oh, yeah, there's something about that physical act.
Yeah, so they mentioned this University of California survey where, get this, students who took notes by hand, they scored like 25% higher on tests than the students who typed their notes.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, so like think about that in terms of like your own planning, right? If you're writing down your goals, your to-dos, like does it actually help you remember them better?
That's a great point.
Like are you really absorbing the information when you're just like, typing it into an app?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I type things and I completely forget them.
Me too, yeah. And there's this Princeton study that backs this up. They found that handwriting straight up improves your memory.
Compared to typing.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Isn't that wild? And they talk about like the neurology of it. When we're writing by hand, it's like different parts of our brain light up.
Yeah, like for neural pathways.
Right. And it's more active than when we're just
Yep,
typing.
like our brain is more engaged.
Yeah. So you create this stronger memory trace, and it's like those goals, those things you got to do, they stick with you more.
It's like the difference between just, listening to a song and actually learning to play an instrument yourself.
Yeah, way more involved.
You're really in it.
Exactly. So it's not just about remembering things better. The article also says that handwriting can actually help you focus better and be more creative.
Because it slows you down.
Yeah, and in this world where we're like bombarded with distractions all the
Yeah,
time.
constantly.
Right? It's like handwriting forces you to slow down
Yeah.
and actually think about what you're doing.
It's like a little quiet time.
It is, and they talk about how this like dedicated time with paper can really boost your creativity.
Like you can get into that flow state.
Yeah, and they even have these stories of artists who like saw their creativity explode once they like ditched the digital and went back to paper.
Wow.
So like think about your own creative process, right? Like could you be more creative if you stepped away from the screens and like got back to basics with pen and paper?
That's a good question. I mean, sometimes I do feel stuck when I'm just staring at my laptop.
Right? Like when you're staring at that blinking cursor,
Yeah.
it's like the ideas just vanish.
Totally.
But like a blank page and a pen, it's like the possibilities are endless.
Like a fresh start.
And oh my gosh, don't even get me started on like that feeling of checking off a task in your planner.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
It is. It's like a little victory.
That little check mark.
It's like, yes, I did that.
I love that.
And the article says there's research that shows that people who physically check things off their lists, they're like 33% more likely to stay productive all day long.
Really?
Yeah, it's like that little boost keeps you going.
Like a reward.
It is so, like, for all of you out there trying to get things done, like, maybe that's the secret weapon,
Maybe ditch the app and go for the paper.
Yeah, try it out. So speaking of getting things done, like, let's talk about the big problem with digital planners. They're designed to help us be organized, right?
Right.
But they can also be, like, the biggest distractions ever.
Oh, yeah, because they're connected to everything.
Yeah, it's like notifications, emails, social media, it's all right there.
It's like a rabbit hole.
It is. You got to check your schedule, and next thing you know, you've spent an hour watching hat videos.
Oh, been there.
Right, it's like it's supposed to make you more efficient, but it actually just like totally breaks your focus.
It's so ironic.
It is what's great about a paper planner is that it's like this, quiet space.
Like a sanctuary from the digital world.
Yeah, you can actually focus on planning without getting sidetracked.
Yeah, just you and your thoughts and your planner.
Exactly. And that's something the article talks about. They call it like an uninterrupted, focused planning experience.
I like that.
Right, like no notifications, no little red dots, no nothing.
Just pure focus.
Yeah, and when you can really concentrate on planning, you can do it way better.
It's like you're giving yourself the mental space to think strategically.
And another thing the article talks about that I think is really cool is this idea of writing down your goals.
Oh, yeah, there's something powerful about that.
It's like it's not just about making a mental note. It's like you're making a commitment.
You're putting it out there in the world.
Yeah, and the article mentions this research from Dominican University, and they found that people who write down their goals are like 42% more likely to actually achieve them.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so like think about your own goals, right? The things you want to accomplish.
Like writing them down could make all the difference.
Yeah, it's like it makes them real.
Like you're holding yourself accountable.
Exactly. And paper planners, they often have this really structured layout, with like daily, weekly, and monthly sections.
I love that.
And it's like they give you this framework for getting organized.
It helps you break things down.
Yeah, like you can take this huge, overwhelming task and turn it into like smaller, manageable steps.
It makes it less scary.
It does. And visually seeing everything laid out, it helps you prioritize.
Yeah, you can see what needs to happen when.
Right. And that can really help with time management.
Oh,
If
definitely.
you're not just letting the day run away from you.
You're in control.
You are. And, it's not just us regular folks who are into paper planners. The article says that a lot of super successful people like designers, executives, authors, they all use paper planners.
Really?
Yeah, like they could be using any fancy app they want, but they choose paper.
Makes you wonder why.
It does, and they give this example of this author, Anna Quinlan. She won a Pulitzer Prize.
Wow.
Yeah, and she says that her paper planner is like her lifeline. It helps her stay organized, even with like crazy deadlines and everything.
That's impressive.
It is, so it's like proof that paper planners, they can work even in the most demanding environments.
Like maybe there's something about that physical connection that helps you stay grounded.
Yeah, I think so. And another thing the article talks about is the connection between paper planning and mental well-being.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like mindfulness, stress reduction.
I could use some of that.
Right, we all could. And they say that journaling and planning on paper can be a great way to manage stress.
I can see that.
Yeah, like when you get all your thoughts and tasks out of your head and onto paper, it's like decluttering your mind.
Yeah, frees up space.
It does, and then you can focus better and feel calmer. And they even say that regular journaling can reduce anxiety by like 25%.
That's significant.
It is like maybe instead of thinking of planning as like another chore, you can think of it as self-care.
That's a good way to look at it.
Right, it's like taking time for yourself to slow down.
And disconnect from the digital world.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, let's not forget about how fun it can be to personalize your planner.
Oh, yes. The decorating?
Right, like bullet journaling, stickers, washi tape, all that good stuff.
It's like an art project.
It is, and the article talks about this idea of creative freedom.
Yeah, you can make it your own.
And it's not just about making it look pretty, it's about finding a planning style that works for you.
Yeah, like some people are super structured.
Right, and some are more free-flowing.
And you can adapt your planner to fit your personality.
Exactly, so it becomes like an extension of yourself.
I love that.
Me too, and at the end of the day, paper planners are just reliable.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about them crashing or running out of
They're
battery.
Wi-Fi needed.
They just work.
They do, and that's so important in our tech-dependent world.
Like you can always count on your paper planner.
Always, and you can take it anywhere.
No outlet needed.
Nope. And something else that's really cool about paper planners is that they're like this physical record of your life.
Oh yeah, like a tangible history?
Yeah, it's like you can look back and see your goals, your accomplishments, your memories all laid out on paper.
It's like a time capsule.
It is, and it's different from digital records, those can feel kind of fleeting.
Yeah, like they can disappear.
But a stack of old planners, that's something special.
It's like a legacy.
It is. So, like, think about how you're keeping track of your own life right now.
Like, are you creating something you can look back on years from now?
Yeah, it's something to think about. And, we can't talk about paper planners without talking about the environment.
Right, the sustainability aspect.
And the article actually brings up some good points.
Yeah, like it's not as simple as saying digital's always better.
Right, because making all those devices and then getting rid of them, that has a big environmental impact too.
And let's not forget about the energy used to power all those data centers.
So choosing a paper planner, especially one made from recycled materials,
Yeah,
that can actually be a pretty eco-friendly option.
that's a good point.
Who are paper planners really good for, like, who benefits the most?
Well, the article breaks it down by different groups.
Okay.
So for entrepreneurs and business professionals, they talk about how writing down goals makes you more accountable,
Oh, yeah.
and the structure of a planner helps with strategic planning.
Like you're setting yourself up for success.
Exactly. And for students and teachers, they say paper planners are great for keeping track of assignments, managing schedules, organizing lesson plans.
It's like having everything in one place.
Yeah, and it's easy to see.
Right, and then for creative people and people who like to journal, they say paper planners give you this blank canvas.
Like you can sketch, brainstorm, write down ideas,
No templates, no restrictions.
just pure freedom.
So basically what we're learning is that paper planners are still relevant today.
They offer something special.
They do. It's not just nostalgia. It's about the way they connect with our brains and our bodies.
Yeah, the way they help us focus and be more creative,
And how they make us feel more in control.
more mindful,
More connected to our goals.
and to ourselves.
Exactly. So here's a question for you to ponder.
Okay.
What part of your life could be improved by using a paper planner? Like even in a small way.
Like what could I try switching over?
Yeah, like what if you ditched the digital calendar for a week and used a paper planner instead?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Right. What would happen to your focus, your productivity, your creativity?
Maybe I'd be less stressed.
Maybe you would. And, who knows? Maybe you'll discover a whole new way of working and living.
Yeah, like a more intentional way.
Exactly. So, yeah, give it some thought and see what happens. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
This is fun.
We'll see you next time.
I